From WKYC Studios, this is What's Next with Russ Mitchell and Lena Lai.
Just hours ago, Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key, Florida, as a Category 3 storm. It's the 5th hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. this year.
This is a live look right now in Tampa on the left along Bayshore Boulevard, which was spared a direct hit. Meanwhile, wind and rain whipping past the Margaritaville camera on Fort Myers Beach. Earlier today, before Milton made landfall, a series of tornadoes touched down across the state. Florida saw more than 100 tornado warnings throughout the day.
And good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to it. Meteorologist Jessica Van Meter. Jessica, Milton is weakening, but it still remains a hurricane.
It's still a very impressive hurricane. Yes, we just got that 11 p.m. advisory in, and you can see that little icon has made landfall. It is still clocking in as a whopping Category 2 hurricane. Sustained winds around that eye at 105 miles per hour, gusts up to 125. It's still moving along pretty well to the east-northeast at 16 miles per hour. So it's going to continue to trek across the central part of Florida here, bringing those hurricane force winds to a good portion of the state. So it's going to be a long night for the folks around Florida, even though we are past the actual landfall at this point. It's going to continue to move off to the east, really maintain that hurricane strength. So that means those winds are going to continue to howl as we go through the night. It's already brought an impressive amount of rain, damage, wind, tornadoes to the state of Florida. Here you see the loop of that landfall right around Siesta Key, so just south of Sarasota. This did go south of Tampa, which has been good news for Tampa Bay. Instead of getting flooded, Tampa Bay actually losing some of its water. So very good for the folks up towards Tampa. Not as good down towards Fort Myers. They've got that storm coming at an angle that they're going to get a little more storm surge, but that eye has made landfall. Heaviest rain has been to the north of this storm. Just incredible rain falling for Tampa, up through the folks in Orlando as well. Tons of flood alerts and radar estimates anywhere from 5 to 6 to 10 to even 13 inches or greater of rainfall. It's not done raining yet. As we mentioned, over 100 warnings issued for tornadoes, over 20 tornadoes reported as that initial line of storms moved through. So this is still going to be a very long night for the folks down there in Florida, and something everyone's going to continue to watch.
All right, Jessica, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Once again, Milton hit Florida about 8 o'clock tonight. And at this hour, a Parma man is hunkering down in his Sarasota childhood home.
Yeah, he says hours ago they lost power, and now they're dealing with heavy rain and destructive winds. Brian McCrae joins us in the studio after speaking with him earlier this evening. Brian, what did he tell him?
Well, good evening, Russ and Lena. Take a look at this radar shot from earlier today. This is what Sarasota was dealing with. They were in the eye of the storm, kind of the calm before the storm. Now, I spoke with a guy named Keith Miller. He tells me he isn't necessarily worried about the projected high waters, but those strong winds. Now, Miller says he went to Sarasota to visit his elderly parents after he was in Tampa for a business trip. Miller did ask his parents, who are in their 80s, if they wanted to leave, but they said no. Emergency officials warn Milton will create a storm surge in the Sarasota area, causing up to 15 feet of water to rise. Over the last few days, officials urged millions to evacuate. I spoke with Miller earlier this evening as heavy winds pummeled his homes, and Russ and Lena's connection was understandably spotty.
It's really bad right now. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to curse.
No, you're okay.
Yeah, we're getting some major gusts of wind, but it's dark and I can't see anything that's happening outside, so I have no idea what's flying around outside.
Yeah, Russ and Lena, as you all just saw right there in that video, we were talking with Miller and the connection was just so bad. He told me that the wind was so strong, he heard it, it was strong and powerful. Now, Miller is not in that evacuation zone, and that was something they factored into their decision to stay. Now, of course, our thoughts continue to be with everyone in the path of Milton as the storm is projected to cause catastrophic damage.
Yeah,
Lena?
Brian, we're pretty worried. I mean, you haven't been able to make contact with him in the last couple of hours.
Yeah, you know what? I called, I texted, haven't heard from him, but hopefully everything is okay.
Absolutely. All right, Brian McCrae, thank you.
And we will have continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton. We'll bring you updates and more online, on air, and on our website, WKYC.com. You can also download the 3 News app and stream us on WKYC+.